Hello everyone and welcome to the first lesson of Physics 1, Units and Measurement. According to Lin, Sani, Mobs from 2016, it is the language of physics. Why is it called the language of physics? Remember last time, the first video that I uploaded in the series, which is the introduction to Physics 1, I mentioned that it's not only about math, but it's also about its concepts. So what does it mean? Meaning that math is widely applied and used in this subject. So in here, they use math as a form of communication, you know, like they will tell the results and you're going to decode it. Like what does it mean? you know. So here, not only that we're going to, in the future, learn some formulas and how are we going to interpret it, but we will also learn its basics, in which that is what we're going to discuss today. All right. So we have units and measurements. All right. Let's learn about these basic stuffs before we proceed to those main concepts of physics. I think this would be the prerequisite video that I'm going to put it to my Physics 2 playlist, in which I will upload Physics 2 videos soon. All right. But for now, let's focus on this one. All right. Let's not be too advanced. So let's begin. Wait, let me just clear my throat. All right. So what is units? So you see, units represent measurements. So think of it this way. Let's just say that you are this person, right? This is you, the blue stickman figure, right? So you're on the road, and then here's the thing. You want to know how far you are from the location you're standing right now to this point, right? To this point. You see this arrow? Yeah. You want to know how far you are to that point or to that arrow. So once you know that, now you try to compare it. Like, okay, if by your own intuition, you know how far it is, but how about if we go even further? Like, let's just say here, right? Almost at the end of the line. Right? So if you know the distance between your starting location and this location, all right, then how far you are from the starting position up to this red arrow, all right, at this one. And at the same time, since you're comparing, at the same time, you also wanted to know their contrast. Like, what's the difference between these two lengths or two distances? So you see, units will help you with that. All right. So yes, units represent measurements, and measurements, yes, uh, they're used for measuring and for comparing physical quantities. If you're asking me, what do you mean by physical quantities? These are basically measurable. Like for example, like the length of, let's just say, let's just say this one, my phone, right? You wanted to know the, let's just say the length, right? The length of the phone and then its width, you know? So yes, with that, we can use units for that. All right. Now, there are two types of units that we will be applying in the future discussions. First is the SI unit. So you see, SI unit stands for International System of Units. So it should be ISU, not SI, right? But why is it called in English International System of Units? Because it's actually abbreviated to its French translation. So before I proceed pronouncing the French translation, please forgive me if my pronunciation is wrong, all right? So yeah, let's continue. In French, it's Les Systèmes International d'Unité. All right. So yeah, aka the metric system. Now, according to Kiprop from 2018, it's actually by majority used by countries. Like most of the countries around the world, they use this metric system, except Liberia, US, and Myanmar, according to KIPROP from 2018. Okay. If I am wrong, maybe there's some changes. Like, what if USA is the only country that they use uh, other system, like they use other system, not metric system, then please, as much as possible, please comment down. Right? I think it's better for us to be updated. But anyway, point being, most of the countries use this system. So what are the examples of liters? So examples, we have liters. These are very useful in terms of like measuring the liquids. Like, let's just say you have a 200 milliliter of water, 2 kiloliters of juice or alcohol, so on and so forth. Amperes, this one, you will be knowing this or learning this in physics too, because amperes, this is actually used in electricity. The flow of what do you call this one? The flow of, let's just say they want to know the speed of the electric charge. All right. So this one you will be learning it in the no, in the what's that again? In the physics too. Here we have Kelvin. I think you heard from this, but this is actually used for measuring temperature. Kilometer, of course, you know this one. I think if you watch movies or if you go around to your place or to the road, we know what kilometer is. Kilometer basically tells you like the total distance, right? Especially if you're on the road. Then we have Newton. Newton is useful if you wanted to know the magnitude of, or let's just say, think of it this way. It's as if you're pushing something or you're pulling something. And you want to know how much do you exert that pushing or pulling? Like how much force you do to that certain object. So Newton will tell you. Then of course, kilogram. Kilogram is useful in terms of what goes on. Usually you will see kilogram when it comes to like wanting to know the weight of your body, you know. So yeah, these are like some of the examples of SI units. Then we also have English units. So these English units are AKA, English unit is also known as imperial system or English system. And again, according to KIPROP from 2018, Liberia, the USA, and Myanmar are the only countries who used it. All right. So examples: miles, feet, inches, cups, yards. All right. There are actually many more. Like maybe what goes one? Maybe quarts or what goes on? In terms of volume, like there would be like some units like quarts, but we will talk about it later. All right. So yeah. Now you see the difference between the SI units and the English units. Okay. So now you see, if you would observe, like I think I have introduced you what is the use for Newton, like the use of kilogram, the use of Kelvin, amperes. So it implies that there are actually a lot of applications, you know, of mathematics, of course. And at the same time, there's actually a lot of usage of units. So we're not only talking about volume, we're also talking about temperature, we're talking also about the mass of an object, the force you exert or whatsoever. So there are a lot of physical quantities, you know. But for now, let's focus on the basic units, right? Let's not, dive in too much. Let's focus first to the basic ones. So according to, once again, Ling, Sani, and Mobs from 2016, there are 7 basic SI units. All right. So one is we have meter. So meter, once again, is used for the length, for the distance, right? Second is we have kilogram. It tells you the mass. So mass is the amount of matter in a body. And let me tell you, mass and weight are not the same. Okay? They are never the same. Commonly, you may be thinking they are. They are the same because like Mass, yeah, it tells you the amount of matter. So does that imply like they're actually heavy? So that means that the smaller mass you have, the lighter you are, right? So there, mass and weight, you may be thinking they're similar, at least, but scientifically speaking, they're not the same. Why? Mass is once again amount of matter in the body. Weight is the gravitational pull with relation to the mass, you know? So for example, let's just say that what do you call this one? What's the best object I can have? All right, let's just imagine that you're carrying a box, and it's so heavy that you can only lift at this point only, like you're trying your best to hold it like at this way. So it's above or at least on the chest part of your body. You're holding it as much as you can, even though it's heavy. Now, when you drop it, obviously it will go down immediately, right? What comes up must come down. But if you would go to the other places, like for example, to the moon, you wouldn't feel heavy at all. I mean, you wouldn't feel the what it calls. I mean, of course, you would feel how heavy the object, but by comparison, it's heavier if you're going to carry the box when you're on Earth, which is here, than when you're on moon because the gravity of moon is different from the earth, which is why if you would notice like if you see the real life footage of the astronauts landing to the moon, like they look like as if they're floating because it's lighter in there, you know it's lighter in there compared here, you know so point being, mass is about the amount of matter in the body. Weight, it's basically the gravitational pull force. All right, they are different. All right, so next, let's continue. So we have seconds. Seconds, this is useful if you want to know like the duration, like how long does it take for you to finish? So it's a length of time. Now, ampere, I think I already mentioned this, which is, yeah, it's used for electricity. All right, the current flow or flow of current. It's actually, again, related to electric charge because you see, current tells you, or yeah, current tells you how fast the electric charges are, and or electric charge if one, all right? So yeah, next is we have candela, right? It's actually weird because candela, we already get the idea. It's a candle in English, but candela, it's used for light intensity. It tells you how bright the light is. Kelvin, I already told you temperature. Then we have mole, amount of substance. I think if you studied chemistry, you'll understand what I mean. Wow, what mole is used for. But if you don't, let me give you an idea. For example, you have a grain of sand. So you're going to count them because you're bored. Just imagine, you're bored, you wanted to count these tiny particles of sand. Here's the problem. The problem is that it's infinite, because you would be having a hard time to count them one by one, you know. And by possibility, maybe it's so microscopic, or maybe if not microscopic, maybe it's nanoscopic. But I do believe it's microscopic. But point being, it's so small that you will be having a hard time to count, in which it became uncountable. It's not countable anymore, where you can just simply count it one by one because of those uh, let's just say infinite number of particles that are so tiny that are actually having a hard time to count them. But here's the thing. What if by math we can at least accurately and precisely know the amount of substance in the grain of sand? In a grain of sand, I mean. So with that, this is useful. Okay? This mole tells you the amount of substance in a grain of sand. All right. So yeah, these are the 7 fundamental units that we're going to focus. Okay. Focus in what? In discussing them one by one? No. but we will use that in metric and English conversions. All right. In other words, for example, if I have, let's just say, seconds. So if I have seconds, what if I want to convert it into milliseconds? How will I do it? At the same time, let's just say you convert it to milliseconds. So how about you convert it into minutes? How many milliseconds in 1 minute? So there we will be learning about that in the future, right? Because this would be our topic for the next video. Metric and English conversions. We must learn how to convert units, all right? So with that, let me give you some notes about the metric prefixes and equivalents and other conversions that you need to know, or unit conversions that you need to know. All right, this one, I suggest you should memorize this or be familiar with this one. All right, this is very useful actually. You see, let me give you like the six basic units in terms of metric prefixes and equivalents from kilo up to milli. All right. So for example, let's talk about meters. Okay. Meters in unit, it's actually just small m. Now, let's just say you have centimeters. So centimeters is here, centi, small c, then plus m meter. So here. Now, what if you want to convert it into kilo? So kilometer. So how would you convert centimeter to kilometer? Or in opposite way, how would you convert kilometer to centimeter? So yeah. So here we will be learning about this soon. Okay. Now here we have also, is it called imperial? Hmm, maybe wait. No, 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 no. This is wrong. Not imperial because imperial is just the same as English, right? So let's just put metric. Okay. Forgive me. I was wrong. All right. This is metric. Okay. Metric. Okay. Metric and metric. There we go. Okay, so here we have like three tables for metric and English conversions. So here on the left part, we have metric and English conversions in terms of length. Like for example, 1 inch is equivalent to 2.54 centimeters. 1 meters equivalent to 39.37 inches, 5,280 feet, and many more. This is for length and this is for volume. Like 1 liter is equivalent to 1.057 quarts, if I'm correct. Quarts? Yeah, quarts. All right. And then here, 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 cubic centimeters. And then here we have this one. I actually forgot to put this, like this table is actually used for mass. Okay. If we have this one for length, this one for volume, this one is for the mass. Like 1 pound is equivalent to 454 grams. 1 kilogram is equivalent to 2.2 pounds. This one is actually commonly used if you're going to work out. Like, for example, you wanted to know how much weight you gain or you lose. So there you have a weighing scale, and there are moments where the weighing scale that are in kilograms or in pounds. All right. So in case, for example, you have a weighing scale that are in pounds, but you want to know in kilograms, you can use this one. All right. So yeah, I have actually talked a lot. All right. So these are like the preview of the unit conversions. Let me remind you that there are other conversions, especially when it comes to English conversions that we may use aside from the one that I just showed you in this video. All right. And also for what do you call this one? For SI units, yes, we're going to focus on the seven basic SI units like, yeah, again, meter, kilogram, so on and so forth. But maybe in the future videos, I think we're not only going to focus on those seven basic units. Maybe I might use newtons, like this one, newtons, or maybe columns like this, and so on and so forth. We will learn about those in the future. Right? So that is all, guys. So if you're asking me what are we going to do the next video, what we're going to do is we will do unit conversion. Just like what I told you, if we have centimeters, how are we going to convert it to kilometers? Right? That is all. See you soon.